So what's your name?
Hannah.
So what do you think fake news is?
I would say fake news is portraying a story in a way that pushes your agenda or only shows one side of the facts.
Where do you think you see fake news most often in your life?
Probably Twitter, because I don't really use any other social media that much that has news, but Twitter is all about news and it's usually one-sided.
So what do you do to, like, if you see an article that you think might not be completely like 100% true, do you do anything yourself to like look to see if it is fake news, or do you just kind of take their word for it?
Usually I'll kind of do my own research, and I don't usually like retweet or like share anything anyways, so but if I were going to, I usually like try to like research it for myself and make sure everything is accurate.
So what is your name?
Corbin.
So what do you think fake news is?
I think fake news is either news that's completely falsified or manufactured to fit an agenda, or true and accurate news being reported or released in a time to push a narrative or create a false narrative.
Where do you think you see fake news in your own like personal life?
I think I see fake news mainly on social media, probably Facebook the most, especially in like 2016. There was a lot of fake news on Facebook. Now they're cracking down on it a bit more, but social media.
Do you do anything on your own to like try and like seek out what's real and what is fake news?
Yeah, I think I try and verify the sources of the news and then verify the sources. Like go back twice and make sure that it's correct. But even then, sometimes stuff can just be a really big mess up and everyone has it wrong, so.
So what's your name?
My name's Hamza.
So what do you think fake news is?
Any sort of, I guess you could say, false version of the actual truth. You know, something construed.
Where do you see fake news in your own life?
Oh, I see fake news. Well, actually, I don't follow the news, but when I used to, I would see it a lot on like, surprisingly enough, on like the most established websites, like the Wall Street Journal or like CNN or something like that.
Do you do anything to like research if you think it is fake news, or do you just kind of take their word for it and hope it's the right stuff?
I mean, I guess if I'm just like messing around at the time, then I'll probably research into it, or else I don't put too much thought into it, like at all.
So what is your name?
Kamsa.
So what do you think fake news is?
I think fake news is any news that is put out into media or social networks that isn't backed by actual evidence or facts.
Where do you see fake news in your personal life?
I see it a lot on Facebook and Twitter, mainly social media websites.
So what do you do yourself to combat fake news? When you're reading an article, do you check sources? Do you see who's posting the article?
Yeah, I do check who's posting the article. I'll often look through sources and just check what other networks are saying about whatever's being reported on.
All right, cool. Okay. So what is your name?
My name's Zach.
What's yours?
Maria.
So what do you guys think fake news is?
I think it's when someone lies on the news.
Pretty much the same thing, when things aren't real.
So where do you see fake news most in like your own lives?
Twitter.
Parents.
That's a new one. We haven't gotten the parents one. Every answer so far has been Facebook or Twitter. So what do you do yourselves to combat the fake news that you see? Do you look up sources? Do you see who's posting these articles?
Yeah, I look up who's posting the articles and like where they're coming from. I also just straight up ask people if they know whether or not it's true. Usually if they know it's true, they'll have like a legitimate answer, and if they don't, they'll just like curse at you and tell you to like go do something else.
Usually just look them in the eye and like look for a little hint of like untruthfulness, see if they're actually telling the truth or not. Usually.
I just realized my microphone's not plugged in. So what is your name?
My name is Derek Garcia.
So what do you think fake news is?
Fake news is when news organizations or even individuals on social media usually start spreading maybe not something that's completely false, but usually something that is a very misconstrued or misinterpreted version of reality, which often spreads false narratives. It's usually done on purpose to push some sort of a political agenda, and it's usually harmful to everyone.
Where do you see fake news the most in like your own life?
I mostly see fake news on, I would say, social media, where usually you see people spreading, let's just say retweeting on Twitter, news about something that is completely false, whether that be even sometimes the president, he tweets out about statistics or things that would come from an unreputable source or something that has been proven to be false, and people just don't fact check that.
Do you do anything on your own to like combat what you see? Like, do you look up sources? Do you see who's reporting it and like check if they're credible? Or
Usually I get my news from someone who already curates that for me. He's a YouTuber, and he usually does his research on this. He tries to stay unbiased. So he usually dives into where these sources come from. And even when I do research on my own, let's just say on a news story, I would check CNN and also Fox, and then maybe some independent news source, usually to get a whole perspective on what this story is exactly.
what's your name?
My name is Emily Andrews.
So what do you think fake news is?
Fake news is something that's represented, in my opinion, from one side in the media. Basically, everything having to do with Trump's election.
So where do you think you see fake news the most often?
Twitter, definitely Twitter, and like people's opinions. Like there was this whole thing going around that Vine was back. It was fake.
I was upset about it. I wanted Vine to be back too. I was
Yeah.
very upset about it.
In regards of politics, I definitely think it's Twitter the most for like people just putting stuff out, or even just journalists through. I'm contradicting myself. Definitely Twitter.
What do you do yourself to like combat it? Like, do you look up sources? Do you see who's posting it? What do you do?
Honestly, I don't follow things political on Twitter. Like after everything kind of started happening with like both sides battling against each other, I just want it to be funny stuff or like things, you know, seeing what my friends are up to. So I just like unfollowed all of those people, or if they were getting too crazy, I muted them. They were out.